Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show, 9 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to Jeff and Bill. We are Denver's left, right, and center talk show. No other show takes calls like this, has this type of debate like we do. That's why we love it. I want to hear from you. We're analyzing the election that took place yesterday. Lots to talk about. Aaron, Denver, good morning. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Yeah, morning.
Oh, yeah. Great show as always, gents. And the thing is, though, Benjamin Franklin said it right. Someone asked Benjamin Franklin. He said, well, what did you guys create? Well, we created a republic. And can you keep it? Keeping a republic is hard work. The founders of this great country, what they created, they weren't perfect. But what they created took hard but work. And if you're going to maintain that, you got to work hard to maintain it. What happened in New York City, it's not a surprise. They voted for another Castro. They voted for another Hugo Chavez. They voted for another Moderna, who took the baton from that nutbag. Now he's going to get in there. New York City is already a pile of F. Now he's going to even make it a even worse pile of F if his radical leftist policies find a way through that system of insanity. So I mean, the voters made the choice. They think government's going to take care from cradle to grave. And you had Kurt Meyer on there, and she doesn't support Trump. Is that right?
I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
But I think she's bringing up a reality here in Colorado that Trump ain't that popular.
Yeah, I think what she's doing is she's understanding the branding that going full MAGA inside of Colorado is a detriment to getting elected. And so she's not going to be able to politically come out there and say what we need to do is follow what Donald Trump is doing, because one of the guys that's running for governor on the other side, his entire, in my opinion, claim to fame, want to be Governor Phil Weiser, is that he's suing Trump more than anybody else on the entire planet. So that's what the other side's looking at. So I think that she's, and again, I don't think she's ever said, I don't support Trump. She may disagree with him on several things, but I think that is clever inside of the Colorado electorate.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, when you run it in the state of Colorado, let's say she was running for office in California. Just because of what happened in New York City and New Jersey and in Virginia and in these quote-unquote so-called blue states doesn't mean you don't keep competing. I mean, it's the Broncos versus the Raiders. It doesn't matter. You still got to go out there and compete. Whether you're running for the dog catcher position, the county cashier, the county commissioner, the HLA, whatever job you kind of compete, you got to understand the game plan that you're up against. And whether it's Trump, I don't like Trump's tweets. I don't like Trump this, that. I think Trump's election did not. Doesn't matter. The GOP, what gets the GOP in trouble when it comes to Colorado, when it comes to California, New York, Virginia, these so-called blue states, they don't stick together. They don't understand what you up against. I mean, you got the horde of dumb ducks supporting the Marxist, communist, social, fascist nutbag in New York City. It just shows they stick together, even though the candidates are a complete nutbags. But they support those. But Jeff, they support those nutbags.
I know. They do, and it's an education issue. I keep going back to it. It's going to be 25 years of work to turn this around, but we got to do it. All right, Aaron, I appreciate the call.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron.
So coming up here in just a second, we're going to talk with Elizabeth Taylor.
What? But she died.
No, she's joining the show.
Oh, hey, all right. From the grave.
You may have seen this. She had her campaign sign stolen.
Oh, local Paul. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Oh, good.
She had her campaign sign stolen. She put AirTags in them, and they ended up in the hands of a teacher. Interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
All right. We'll talk more about it. Text messages coming in. People want to hear more from Aaron. Get back to him. They love him. All right. Now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good Aaron Wednesday morning. Love it. 45 and sunny in Denver, expecting a high of 69 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
And even seen in the polling with regard to people being very fiscally conservative. And I think if we stick to that part of our message about, we don't need more government.
The morning after the elections, and Barb Kirkmeyer, who is running for governor, on with Jeff and Billy last hour. She knows we have to get away from big government. She has to be careful, though, because all these lefties in this state, because that hasn't helped us here in Colorado.
We don't need more regulations. We need to become more affordable. We need to be able to feel safe in our communities. And we want to make sure that our kids are getting a good education. And then, there was nothing on the ballot about fixing our darn roads, but I sure do hear a lot about that as I'm traveling the state and talking to folks.
Yes. Aurora City Council, speaking of real conservatives, they went lefty land, and the great Danielle Jurinsky finishing third, which is a joke. Forget about how she fought crime and helped make Aurora safer. Who cares about that? Let's just make sure everybody eats on us. Everybody. Nobody has to work. Just eat and let the government pay for everything. Denver voters decide to keep the ban on the sale of flavored tobacco and vapes, according to the current results. Jody Radke, regional director for the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, celebrating an early win, saying it's one of the strongest tools local governments have to reduce youth addiction.
We are incredibly excited, incredibly proud to see the early numbers that have come out and to see that Denver voters have prioritized kids' health over the profits of the tobacco industry.
Now, if we could only get the state off the addiction of lefty big government, maybe we'd have a chance. Like in New York City, they haven't gotten off the addiction.
Thank you to those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own. I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas, Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses,
Lord.
Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, aunties.
Kami Donnie wins the race for mayor.
I think you just let him go, man. Unleash this guy.
Yeah.
All in.
Yeah, I think so. The bottom line, he's not going to be able to do half of what he wants to do.
Which
and
is
then
just
they're start
stupid. You end up with the constant,
yeah.
Well, we couldn't really try it. I feel like we're all with like a family member who has an addiction. And you're just like constantly like stepping in, being like, hey, this isn't good for you. This isn't good for you. You need to go to class. You need to focus on your studies. And they're like, no, I can live free. If you just let me live free, man, then I can really embrace this and my life will be awesome. It's you. You're the problem. And
right.
like, I talk to the folks that deal with, and when you get in the way of them hitting rock bottom, sometimes you prevent them from actually getting to the place of recovery that they need to. And I just feel like I just embrace it, man. Take one city and just go all in socialist so we can get this out of our system, turn around, and maybe learn from our mistakes.
Yeah, you need your mental arse kicked, evidently.
Yes.
Just to go through. Here, let's hear what he has to say about DJT real quickly.
If anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him.
Yeah! Yeah, even though he helped build the city.
And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power.
Yeah! He's so smart. What did he say? What? Yeah! Here's Scott Jennings.
So here's the thing. He went after
everybody that he thinks is a problem. People who own things, people who have businesses. He said an interesting quote, "No problem too large for government to solve."
Or too small, important.
And so when you think of the world that way, that every problem, no matter how small or how large, is something for government to do, let me just decipher this for you. Tax increases as far as the eye can see, which means the people who need to provide jobs to the young people that you say need jobs are going to flee as quickly as they possibly can.
Get out of there. Get out of there. The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments on the legality of DJT's tariffs today. U.S. Solicitor General D. John Sauer defended the tariff plan after the High Court agreed to fast-track the case.
If I may, maybe I can articulate it this way. The power to impose tariffs is a core application of the power to regulate foreign commerce.
The tariffs will stay in place until the court makes a decision. The president had previously said that he was considering the unprecedented move of attending this week's arguments. But of course, as you heard on Tuesday, he'll stay away. But instead, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is there and said he's hoping for a ringside seat.
I mean, this is fascinating because I can understand both sides of it, right?
Sure, so can I.
Right. So if you leave the power to tariff in the hands of Congress, it's never going to happen, right? Because it's so complicated with so many different pieces coming in from each parts of the country. Really? Like Congress isn't even open right now. And you're going to hand the power to tariff to those guys? Okay. So I understand that it seems just so stupid to hand it to them because they can't do anything. At the same time, I love Donald Trump negotiating on tariffs because I think he's a good negotiator. And I think he acts in the best interests of our country, and I think he could work things out. The power to tariff in the hands of Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Pete Buttigieg, whoever else they're going to put up there, no, I think they're going to be stupid and stumble through that. So I'm like, I don't want him having the power to incite tariffs.
Absolutely not.
I don't know. No. It's the day after an election where Democrats just ran the table in Colorado, with the exception of my wife's campaign. That's because we live in such a conservative district.
Elizabeth.
But I'm sitting here the day after, just with all these problems going, just Lord, take me. I'm ready for your kingdom.
It's either that or an old Calgon ad, one of the others.
That or
that.
Calgon, take me away. I gotta move to like Oklahoma or Florida at this point because I'm just surrounded by people that are going, everything sucks, and then they just double down on the same people that made it all suck. I'm just I can't this morning. I'm done.
I can't say I'm surprised at all. It's depressing when you wake up and you see this stuff, but I know there will be a brighter day. There will. I mean, we saw it. I mean, I thought the world was coming to an end before November. So thank God we got out of that. We escaped that. 9 people have died after that horrific jet crash in Louisville at Muhammad Ali Airport, taking off in Kentucky, headed for Hawaii. And they're still looking for possible bodies after that aftermath. It's just horrible. The video is really tough to watch. The Lightning at the Avalanche last night in Lodo, early second period. Here we go. Let's go. Let's get the speed and skate.
McKinnon just feeding him. Here comes Colton. He's got a break backhand. Score! Ross Colton. Vasilevsky kicks it into his own net, and the Avs have taken a 3-1 lead.
And they win it 3-2. Pete Carroll and the Raiders at the Broncos tomorrow night at Mile High. Forget about the elections and just think about the Broncos trying to win another game here. Sean Payton had numerous football battles against Carroll, and you'll see him tomorrow night.
Yeah, there's just sometimes you end up playing teams more. Maybe it's just, we were in the NFC and we had regular season games. We had postseason games. There've been quite a few. I mean, and they start running together. Pete does a great job. He's always been, I consider, a good friend in the industry. Someone who's you know you're going to get a real well-coached team. And again, I told you this earlier, I thanked him when he took the job, and it made me the youngest coach in the division. So,
yeah, that's always a good thing. Absolutely. 42 in North Glen, 43 in Lone Tree, 45 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue waking up with Jeff and Bill. Blake Olson.
Blake Olson is the guy, John Wayne. Remember that line John Wayne used to say, "I'm not going to hit you, mister. The hell I'm not going to hit." And then he pops the guy. That's Blake Olson.
God, I love Barney. News Talk 710 KNUS.
Pretty good look at November weather. It'll be a mix of high clouds and sun and very, very mild. We're going to be well up into the 70s today, 30s and low 40s tonight. A little bit cooler, sunny and a little breezier, 65 to 70 Wednesday, lower 40s Wednesday night. For Thursday, increasing high clouds, breezy, 60s, and a bit cooler for Friday and Saturday, 50s and 60s, as a couple of frontal systems will come through. But any moisture with these fronts at the end of the week and the start of the weekend will stay in the mountains and to our north. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show on Wednesday, October 29th. Elizabeth Taylor. What a great name, by the way.
Oh, I know.
She placed 2 Apple AirTags inside 2 of her campaign signs after having already lost 2 batches of signs stolen from the area around the Eagle County building. She then drove to the location and added the tag signs to a 3rd batch previously installed there. The following morning, on Thursday, October 30th, the AirTags began pinging from a staff parking lot at Basalt Middle and Elementary Schools using Apple's Find My app. Elizabeth was able to precisely identify the vehicles containing the AirTags. Later that afternoon, around 4 to 4:30, the vehicles left the parking lot and was followed by a campaign volunteer to a residence of the individual connected with Roaring Fork Schools. The Find My app confirmed the AirTags location in the driveway of that residence, and campaign obtained a timestamp screenshot of the locations. After a short time, one of the AirTags moved again, traveling down the hill to Thunder River gas station and market. Upon further tracking, the signal indicated that the AirTag had been discarded into a trash can near the market's entrance. The volunteer retrieved the AirTag using food service gloves provided by the store staff. The second AirTag was recovered near Glenwood Springs residence on November 1st with the assistance of the Eagle County Sheriff's Office. Both AirTags are now in the possession of Eagle County sheriffs, and the campaign's waiting further information and guidance from the investigators. Now, the lady that had her campaign sign stolen and tracked them using these AirTags joins us now. Ms. Taylor, thank you for taking time to join the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeff and Bill, for having me on your show.
Well, this is just frustrating because I personally know what it's like. My wife's campaign signs were destroyed, stolen.
Yeah.
I talk to people. This happens to them when they run for office. I think it's a sign of immaturity and weakness that you're so worked up over the fact that you might lose an election that you need to go out there. You have your volunteers or supporters go out there and steal your campaign signs. Now, do you have a sense of who's done it? Has the police given you some insight on this?
Well, we do know who did it because we know the address where the tags ended up. So we do know that, but we can't disclose that. I mean, I don't want to just pinpoint the person right here, publicly. But yeah, we do know, and it's really unfortunate. I just think it's too bad. It's not unusual, for signs to be, damaged or defaced or stolen during an election. But I don't know of any examples where they were tracked to an individual who did the deed. So this is a little different, where you can actually know who did it. And it's too bad that it ends up being somebody who is associated with the district. It does show an immaturity, I think, and just a lack of integrity and honesty. You would think that in a school board race that this is about, making an example of honesty and integrity for the other people, the community, parents, the students. But instead, this is the result, and it's just really disappointing.
we had to put up trail cams outside of our signs because they weren't necessarily stealing them. They were big signs that were on T-post stakes. But I met with a volunteer who came out. He said, I'm so tired of this happening. I want to help. And Spencer was his name. Spencer helped us here. He set up a trail cam just so that we could see if this was continuing to happen, because we had 16 of our signs defaced with swastikas, and then they took knives and cut through them. And now this backfired in our community because we live in a conservative community, and after a while we just decided to leave them up to send a message that, all right, now you're telling conservatives who the left is most intimidated by. And result for us was that we were able to win. But last night, I mean, you had to deal with all this. And, I mean, how did it turn out in your race yesterday?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Nicole, because I just really think that's wonderful that she won her race. So congratulations to Nicole. And then last night, it was a little disappointing that neither of us won. I was running with my friend Jody Barr, who was running for another seat on the same board, and we had similar goals and values. But we worked really hard. We ran a good race. We took the high road. We did not, resort to any negativity or stealing of signs or anything like that. But so I feel good about our race. We ran a good race. We didn't end up getting the result we wanted, but we had a lot of support, and we made a lot of great friends along the way. Ultimately, though, I don't know what's happening in our state. I feel a little. I just wonder where Colorado is headed, since seeing that we did lose a lot of conservative races in our whole state. So,
and in school districts across the state, unless you were really conservative, it went against you, like a really conservative district. It went against you. Douglas County, we've been talking about the losses there. Jeffco's no longer even competitive. And I remember when conservatives could get elected there as well. So we're talking with Elizabeth Taylor. She ran for school board in the Roaring Fork area. Elizabeth, as you reflect on the campaign, what you went through personally, your own sign stolen to the point where you've got to get the police involved.
Well,
give me a reflection on the campaign. Give me a reflection on the direction of Colorado from your perspective.
Well, I don't know. I guess we just did what we thought we were supposed to do. Put the signs up. If we ever put them up in the wrong place, we would take those down, or somebody would take them down for us. But we would find out where the right place to put them was. So we were told the correct zone near the Eagle County building to put our signs, and we did that. But what we noticed is regularly they would be, not only my signs, but my, friend's signs, Jody's signs, they would just all be taken down. We would put maybe 5 signs up each, and along that route, along that zone. And then I have a friend that lives in the area, and he would drive by and just say, well, they're all gone. So then I have another friend who had a stock. He would restock them. So then he would put up the signs. So that happened a couple of times. And each time I did file a police report, because that's what I've heard you're supposed to do, so that there would just be a record of it. But I never really thought anything would happen with it. We were just following going through the motions of what you're supposed to do. And actually I had thought about putting a game camera up too, but I didn't know where to put one up, because any place we put it up would be public property, like the CDOT or Eagle County property or whatever. And I didn't think we would be able to find a spot. So anyway, we just did what we were supposed to do, file those reports, and it's just too bad, how it happens. That's a regular thing that happens. People feel like they need to steal signs to, curtail our freedom of speech, or what maybe they're threatened by, what our message is. I don't know. I just think it's just a poor display of character to do something like that.
Well, and we're talking with Elizabeth Taylor. She ran for Roaring Fork School Board. She had her campaign sign stolen to the point where she had to put AirTags in. There was a line that was shared on our program a few months ago by the former chief of Denver Police, and I think about this all the time. He said, we either lock up like our emotions, like we're able to control our emotions, and as a society live within the bounds of being a good person, or we end up having to lock up ourselves with things like AirTag. So we're now going to be at a point moving forward, I think, with campaigns here in Colorado, and I'm not sure it's just Colorado, I'm sure it's around the country, where you're going to have to put AirTags in your campaign signs because they're going to be stolen. You're going to have to put trail cams to track things and see people that are destroying signs. We're at a point now where, for instance, a majority of Donald Trump's cabinet lives on Army bases in order to be safe out there. It is falling apart. It is falling apart right in front of our own eyes because we're becoming less of a moral nation that seems, and it may seem trivial to you, but I think it's symptomatic of a much larger issue that you can't even put a campaign sign on the side of the road without someone affiliated with your opponent or somebody that opposes you stealing it. And that's what it is, because this costs money. They're stealing or vandalizing or destroying or threatening you at the place where you live, to the point where Donald Trump's cabinet needs to live on an Army base. I think it's all connected, and it's part of a general coarsening of our society. Well, Elizabeth Taylor, I appreciate the fact you stepped up to run. It is very difficult. I know firsthand the demand on your family when you do this. I know it didn't go your direction last night, but your voice in the community still matters. I hope you'll continue to be a leader in your community. Don't see this as a step back. Reevaluate, find other ways to serve, because your voice matters. And I appreciate your time this morning, Elizabeth. Thank you for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Thank you so much, Jeff and Bill. I really appreciate the time to be on your show this morning. Thank you so much.
All right. Would love to hear from you. Phone lines are still hot. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. You reflecting on what happened last night in the election. Text messages coming in. This one I'm just going to take issue with. 6858. Campaign signs are dumb. All right. Well, then explain to me why only 40% of people vote in elections. I mean, seriously. I mean, if you had a high voter turnout, then yeah, I think you can make that statement. But when people aren't voting, people aren't getting out, people aren't engaging, tell me, 6858, how you get people to do that. Give me a call, 303-696-1971. All right, let's talk Dan Caplis with Dan Caplis Law. Dan suggests you should choose a lawyer who shares your values, because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everyone involved in the case. Dan Caplis is the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who've been hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Caplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call, 303-770-5551. 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S Law.com. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. The morning after a big election. Good night for Democrats. Really great night for socialists in New York. Mamdani. Get used to the name, Mamdani. She's the new mayor of the largest city in New York, a Muslim socialist. Wild. Where's this country going? What's Colorado doing as well? We're now so dependent on the state, we need it for food. Fascinating in my mind. Happened to the libertarian-leaning nature of Colorado. Joining us live in studios, Peter Boyles. Pete, what are you going to cover Saturday on your program, 9 to 1?
Well, we moved some things around to go open lines on the results of this.
It's jam-packed phone lines, man.
Well, more than that, I think, and again, that's true, but this is a very significant night last night, and I think by the time this really settles in, you guys are doing a great job this morning. I was listening coming in. It's going to hold. People are still going to be talking about what happened.
Yep.
And what does it mean and what comes next. I don't know.
You and I were just talking a little bit. I think there's, and I'm kind of out there on this, so I understand, but I think Colorado shifted to the point where it's not what it was 10 years ago. Demographically, because Colorado was this historically, and this is where I would disagree with Barb Kirkmeyer, who we had on earlier. Mm-hmm. There's this thinking that Colorado's still this kind of socially libertarian state, that we're fiscally conservative, but that we're willing to embrace abortion, gay marriage, those types of things. And so when Republicans talk about the social issues, they lose, so we need to be focused on the fiscal stuff. I go down to the rallies with Bernie. I think we're a Bernie Sanders state. I think the core voter that turns out, particularly in these suburbs, likes AOC, Bernie Sanders, and they are socialists. I could be wrong. What do you think?
I think you have to offer something, and I don't know who controls the state in terms of the voting populace, because it can change. But again, the Republican Party holds 4 congressional seats, and they're pretty strong. But statewide, I think the last person to win a statewide election was Bill Owens. And the senator races and all these things, it's all up for grabs. The question for you guys is, who is out there that's going to take that seat? And I thought, I'm trying to write this right now, but I thought really significantly, Dick Cheney died on the day that a 41-year-old Ugandan-born American citizen becomes in the capital of capitalism, New York City, becomes the mayor. That's,
it's wild.
Well, think about the epoch, the span, that the morning that Dick Cheney dies, the morning it's announced Dick Cheney dies, this man wins the mayor's job. It's really, to me, it's wow, what a span.
Do you think, though, that that's New York forgetting what happened on 9/11? They would always say, never forget, and then they just elected a Muslim.
But Muslims weren't, the religion can be sectioned into different things. I think what's interesting is the Saudi Arabians are the ones who did it, and they've walked away clean. And that wasn't. They were.
So do you think that that's New York voters making distinctions within Islam, being smart enough to know, that Muslim's not like that type of Muslim, or do you think that's just them being ignorant?
Jeff, the better place is Virginia, where a Muslim woman wins a statewide job, lieutenant governor.
Yeah,
that's huge. I mean, that's really a significant change, and it's Virginia.
But I'll ask you again, do you think that that's because the voters make distinctions within Islam, or do you think they're just being ignorant of the impact of Islam?
I think that it speaks to how people view religion. Yeah. I think that many places where, okay, you're this faith or that faith or this faith over here, and it doesn't matter. And remember, I think there's a significant, 35% of New York voters were not born in this country. I think it's more about what the now mayor was saying to the people, the promise, and people are having a hard time right now. This will be fathomed out, and by Saturday morning. Right now, I think it's shock and awe. and how quickly it went down last night. I was doing some TV stuff last night. By 9:35, they called the race in New York. They called the race before I began to work last night in Virginia. New Jersey goes. It's not a good night. California, Proposition 50.
Yeah, right? No, it's going to get more divisive, more entrenched.
Yep. And and they did it in Texas the other way. And we talked about it last night. I said, no matter what you do, it's called gerrymandering.
Correct.
I think I heard Billy say coming in that they at one time they would have dinner together. Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan would get together. Ain't no getting together. No. It is now. It's more on edge now that I think that it's been.
Someone once said we're two different countries fighting over the same land.
They said we're 8 different countries. There's a book called the 9 Nations of North America.
Interesting.
A guy by the name of Joel Guru wrote it, and I think there's enormous substance to that. I last night we were up late, and then all of a sudden I said, well, there's no reason to be up late. It's call in the dogs, put out the fire. This is over. And so don't you think that the power brokers are started calling one another last night?
100%. Yeah, and I think they're trying to figure out how to get Michael Bennet elected at this point.
Yeah, but
because
he's got it.
Colorado is they're just going to continue to tax and tax and tax until they run out of money. You want to get to some phone lines?
Of course.
Okay. Francis Golden. Good morning, Francis. You're on with Jeff, Bill, and Peter Boyle.
Yeah, morning.
Hey, you guys. Hey, you've got a very catchy earworm now with that Jeff and Bill wake up stuff. It's pretty cool. So I'm just giving you a heads up. Hey, I think that there is a huge undercurrent of hang the rich going on right now in this country. And I think that it's kind of a pot boiling over, and it's happened. There's been income inequality that's grown exponentially since the 80s. And it's multifactorial. I mean, a lot of it's because of world economy and things like that, and just transfers between manufacturing bases and all of this. But it really, I would love to see, just similar to the health insurance problems, I don't believe that these things are unfixable. I think they're fixable. But you've got to have legislative bodies that actually are not wrapped around the axle of ideology and kind of get wrapped around the axle of fixing things. And I can see the wealth inequality problem being at least one part of it that you can at least try to manage and fix is by fixing the tax code. I mean, it's a mess. That's where a lot of this comes from. I don't think anybody with a you can always jump through your own head to try to say that, some sort of a progressive income tax is wrong or that it should be a flat tax, but it's never going to work if it's a flat tax. The question is, how do you stop the hemorrhaging of money that is essentially untaxed through various shelters and things like that? You've got to fix this. And I think that people have to start focusing on various ways to get the wealth distribution fixed, because otherwise we're the French Revolution waiting to happen.
I understand that, but we have more government providing more services at any point than this state's history right now, and everybody complains about it. So why is it the government's job to go in and redistribute it, and why do you think that's going to actually make a difference?
I think it can make a difference because at least you're putting some money back into people's pockets, and I think that
you're not, though.
Here's what I honestly
Francis,
think.
We're dependent on the state to feed our kids lunch right now.
I realize that, but I think you're looking at symptoms, not causes, and I think that's a problem. You simply can't have the wealth distribution continuing to skew so far out of control. And the only real way to put a governor on it is through the tax code, not by upping taxes. I want to make sure I'm clear about that, Jeff. I think you got to fix it. Most of this money that goes to the top 1%, in terms of wealth transfer, it's wealth transfer and its inability to take a part of the overall wealth. That is the problem with the lower income brackets. They have no avenue. They can't participate meaningfully in the economy.
Francis,
And
I
it's
appreciate it. We're
because
just
none
up
of that
against
money-
a break here. We'll continue.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Sitting in studio with us is Peter Boyle's Pete's Show, 9 to 1 on Saturdays. We were just talking about the sweet song of fascism.
Yeah, there's a great line through history that it's called Fascism's Sweet Song, and a song goes like this: I'll take care of you. And you go, what? I'll take care of you. And then you say, well, what do you want? And the voice says, we'll let you know. We'll tell you. And that's the sweet song. And, when people throw that word around, and it's the term around, and it's really an interesting term, fascism. But when a politician, there was a man who came to America from France. His name was de Tocqueville, and he wrote about this country. And he wrote this very powerful part of his work, and he said, when the politicians figure that they can vote the largesse of the Treasury for votes, the game's over. Yeah. And we've seen that again and again and again. So,
till the Treasury runs out of money.
Yeah,
and that's what's happening.
Margaret
here.
Thatcher.
Yeah, right. It's what's happening in Colorado.
No.
Budget cuts.
Watch. I mean, when you get used to something, then you stay with it. And if it's a winner, why not ride it home?
Peter Boyle's 9 to 1 Saturdays, open line, so the conversation will continue with Pete this Saturday. You're not going to want to miss it. Thank you, Pete, for swinging by.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You want to do one more call real quick?
Yeah, let's try to squeeze it in.
Faith?
Yeah, squeeze in
Faith. Loveland. Good morning, Faith. You're on with Jeff and Bill and Peter Boyles.
Yeah, morning.
Good morning. Great conversation. Great show. And hey, Pete. Just wanted to bring to your awesome audience attention about our Senator Representative, I'll say that in quotes, Barb Kirkmeyer.
We got about 1 minute. Go ahead, Faith, real quick.
She is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Look up on the Colorado Tracer and her Liberty scores, and you don't have to take my word for it. Just do your own due diligence and look it up.
But do you think, though, that the most conservative candidate could win in Colorado statewide?
Probably not. Given just the voting, just this yesterday, I don't.
I got a question,
I think
Faith.
there has to be somebody.
Do you think that Barb's Liberty score is going to be better than any of the Democrat candidates?
It's only like 1 point above the Democrat.
But again, if
seriously,
it's better if you want the state to turn the direction you want. Are you letting purity or the perfect be the enemy of the good? Even if she's only 1 point of difference, isn't that enough at this point, given where Colorado is?
I think we should give it a whirl and just get somebody in there who's honest with us, who doesn't.
Oh crap, Faith. I hate to cut you off, but then you started with honesty and you're talking politicians. What the? Oh, Faith, I love you. Call us back another day.
They're at least one level more honest than radio hosts.
Yeah,
All right,
barely.
We'll continue tomorrow. You've been listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is 710 KNUS.